Naam, karibu katika makala ya The Football Slip. Tuangalie kwa haraka zile games 10 ambazo tumezichagua weekend hii. Kenya Police nyumbani dhidi ya Gor Mahia, Shabana dhidi ya KCB, Tusker dhidi ya Bidco United, ni michuano hii ya ligi kuu ya taifa nchini. Alafu Wolves dhidi ya Ipswich, Man City mchuano babu kubwa watakuwa katika ugao wa Etihad dhidi ya Manchester United, Augsburg ni ligi ya kuu ya Uingereza hii, Augsburg dhidi ya Bayer Leverkusen, RB Leipzig dhidi ya Frankfurt, hizo ligi ya Bundesliga. Alafu Lazio dhidi ya Inter, ligi ya Italia. Alafu Alaves dhidi ya Atletico de Bilbao, alafu Villarreal dhidi ya Real Betis. These are the 10 magical matches we've selected this weekend. Tuangalie slip yangu tuone mambo, the winning slip, because before we took a break last week,
yes,
mimi ndo nilikuwa moto kote ya
no. You are it. Before we took a break, we were going to a show where you had actually gotten 5.
Says
Ask Kariuki. We tallied the results.
He had 9. I had 9. You had 5.
Guys, really
you are back to your best. You are back to what you do best.
Tusidanganye watu. Kenya Police against Gor Mahia X2, Shabana KCB under 4.5, Tusker Bidco 1, Wolves Ipswich over 1.5, Man City Man United GG, Augsburg Bayer Leverkusen X2, RB Leipzig Frankfurt over 1.5, Lazio Inter 102, Alaves Atletico Bilbao 102. Sedo, what do you make of my slip? Unaonaje slip?
You know, your slip.
Professor kidogo angalia a winning slip. A winning slip.
The slips, actually, these are kind of slips that present a host of controversial results.
Surely
coming from
Shabana and KCB under 4.5.
Before last week he was a number 1. We need actually to have given him that particular credit.
Yes.
It's only last week that he was almost falling to the relegation zone, yes, being a 5. Almost. So I think Kenya Police and Gor,
it will be a tough match.
It's a tough match that it's hard to predict, like it will be presenting host of goals as it is. We know Gor has been on a scoring spree, but last weekend actually they were shown dust.
Actually on Wednesday they settled for 1-1 against
Shabana, yes. And that it's a kind of being ushered in that these are kind of a team that is literally equally beatable. It just depends on how you manage your game. Shabana KCB, I still feel like also Shabana has come back to the fore, and it's really presenting some of the flairism kind of soccer that they have even lost one of their talisman, I think, Tegesi.
Yeah, he's about to go to Tanzania.
And yes, it tells you a team that really knows what they need to do in this particular KPL of ours. No, Tusker Bidco, maybe.
Tusker fresh from losing to FC Leopards.
It will be trying to tighten their nuts, but again, they have become so loose to an end that it can still soak in goals. Remember, FC Leopard is not a strong team that can really put those 4 behind Tusker, but I was so much surprised when I was looking at that particular result, what really went loose into the Tusker's defense. And it depends that if they ushered into these weekend's games with that kind of mentality, they are beatable again. Man City, Man United. Man City, Man United.
He said it's a goal.
You know,
goal, bana.
Don't bet with emotions.
Because
that's where we end up. No, that's where, you know, I know when you are betting,
predicting with emotion.
Yeah, when you are predicting with,
you are looking for money.
No, necessarily.
This is a prediction.
He's looking at he's trying to look at his team like it still has
I could even change that and say Man United will win.
Hassan,
2. I could put a 2. Oh, it's here. I could even select it here.
Actually,
I could change this from GG to a 2. I'm sure. That's a sure bet.
That confidence. And they are playing away from home.
Yes.
They are going to beat Man City from their backyard.
Missouri, home and dry.
To me, that's a difficult game.
Gentlemen, we'll come into that topic because it's the biggest topic of the weekend.
To me, that's a difficult game.
We are coming to it.
It's
Hassan, Shtemi, of course, Augsburg, Leverkusen. He said Leverkusen will draw. Leverkusen are fresh from beating Inter in the Champions League 1-0. Leipzig, first team to be eliminated from the Champions League. They are yet to get a win in the Champions League. So far, they're taking on Frankfurt, another team that is in form although they lost to Lyon in the UEFA Europa League. He said over 1.5, which looks more likely. Lazio versus Inter, a very tough encounter. He said it will go either way. Alaves Bilbao also either way. Mtu wa Murima, simama pale utupea.
Nono, kwa nini nikiangalia hii slip inakaa yangu sana.
Yako ndio hiyo.
Hadi sasa.
Yako ndio hiyo.
Actually
Yako ndio hiyo.
Hadi inakaa yangu sana.
Ni ukweli amesema.
but look at my slip.
Hii ni ya karaoke.
But under 4.5, under 3.5.
No, but 4.5 guys. 4.5, 3.5.
No, remember the game, was it which Tusker? Yes, KCB. It was 3-2 and I had said under 3.5. It was 3-2, so I lost that time. So it is possible to have under 3.5 from Tusker.
You have the fixtures
Concentrate
there.
on your sleep.
Ndio hizo.
So nikuja hii side.
Ungesema tu side.
Hiyo side sioni vizuri. Acha nisimame hapa. She tell me, you are saying hapo iko namna gani? Tunaona ni ya kutafuta pesa.
Mmeanza kuwa ambitious sana.
Aje sasa.
Shtemi, one interesting thing, Hassan said it's Gor Mahia or a draw, but Kariuki said Kenya Police or a draw. Now Kenya Police under the new coach, they haven't lost. It's not going to be a walk in the park for Gor Mahia this time.
Yeah, absolutely, because Kenya Police currently are having around the Cinderella run, so to say. And for Gor Mahia, the other side, it is either they win this, they lose, they draw. And that's not a good result more so for the Kogalo fans, bearing in mind that they sacked their coach, I think 3 weeks ago. So Zico was trying to maybe steady the shit. Unfortunately, they lost. And actually, they survived against Shabana. Shabana will have gotten 3 points against them after Gor Mahia being red-carded, one of their players. But looking at Shabana KCB, another crucial game, tough game, and it will have to test the Shabana mentality in terms of winning and trying to battle the big boys. Tusker, Bidco, Tusker coming back from that heavy defeat to Ingwe will have, of course, need to bounce back against Bidco.
Inaweza isha 3-1.
No. There'll be no goals in that match. There'll be goals will be so minimal in that match. Remember, both of these teams have been conceding so big, but right now they're going to narrow and try to be so defensive so that they can't concede. Maybe Wolves and Ipswich, of course, Wolves struggling, Ipswich also struggling. Tricky game to predict, but the battle of the Manchester crisis, or rather the derby crisis, Man City against Manchester United, giving Manchester United
crisis or crisis derby.
No, it has a crisis derby, whichever comes first.
Sedo, Lazio, hey, by the way, na ukupea huyu wa 5.
Sedo tampatia.
You know, let me tell you gentlemen, one funny thing, have you ever seen mtu wako na chake lakini anataka cha mwingine? Wale wako huko wako na screen. Lakini hakuna kitu, ni same. Ni same. It's the same thing.
But you know, no, it's what Hassan said. They are looking at that. So even
but wewe angalia screen yako.
Sawa basi.
It's the same thing.
So Sedo, Lazio versus Inter before. She tell me, unaona ngapi out of 10?
Namba yake kama kawaida 6 tu.
But ilikuwa na 9 the last time you said 6. It is okay. No. Sedo. Yule alikuwa na 5 ndio anataka kujua wengine watakuwa na ngapi. Sedo, Lazio versus Inter. I think Lazio is doing very well. And Inter also is doing very well.
We'll come back to breaking this down.
We are actually having it
for the biggest games of the weekend.
Nani, Sedo, what do you think about my sleep?
Actually, you walk around your sleep and you see how you have tried actually to
play around,
size your pocket, as you normally like to put it, paraphrasing it.
But he's a mkulima.
It's a kind of sleep that might end up not giving you result that you want. Given to the fact that you are coming from almost hitting everything. You are just told that last week you had a 9. So you needed to.
So how many?
How
many?
Last time he got they tied with Juma.
No,
you see, after that we went for a break.
Yes.
Now the date was supposed to come back. That is when they had predicted. but Hassan had 5. Kariuki and I.
You remember they celebrated after beating Robinson.
Yeah.
So he went back to the drawing board and he tried to reassess
But you know,
himself.
yes, they
You
did
see
a
him back
big
with a bang.
9-9.
They beat about
Currently, he has actually been carried away with the results. He has started now going big on everything.
they beat about in the
So how many are you predicting?
7.
7.
Yes.
7-6.
7-6.
Let's get to see the safest person in betting.
Master mwenyewe.
But kama ni master, hata mimi basi nitakuwa master. Hey, master. Yes, this is the slip that Mkangai says. Hii huwezi pata maziwa.
haiwezi nunulia Nora maziwa.
Hawezi pata Mkangai akiamua hapa Nora hata kupata maziwa.
Unatafuta maziwa?
Achana na yeye basi. Hii slip yake hata hakutaja ya kuizungumzia kweli.
I'm being realistic.
Identical. From number 1 to...
Nilikopi tu kutoka juu hadi chini. Aside from Inter.
No, ulifanya research yako vizuri.
The question should be, why Lazio Inter X2? Why not over 1.5 like you had predicted the rest?
Now Lazio Inter, why? Karen, can we go to Lazio versus Inter? Biggest game in Italy, Lazio versus Inter. Why I'm saying Inter or a draw? This is because Inter are coming back from losing in the Champions League. They lost 1-0 to Bayer Leverkusen. Lazio, on the other hand, they got a 3-1 win against Ajax in UEFA Europa League. So it's going to be very, very interesting. Inter are trying to keep pace with Napoli at the top of Serie A. They want to win. And remember, Napoli don't have European what? They don't have European commitments this season. So if you let Napoli move far, hamtawahi catch up. Of course, league zingine, ukiangalia kama pale England, kuna team imejaribu wanasema wako sawa, wanapiga win moja, wanapiga draw, wanasema wana move, but wamekwama tu.
Number 12, 13.
Yes, so that is why we have this. But talking about Cedric, Inter and Lazio, it's going to be very, very interesting. Remember, Lazio, you take a look at their last 5 games, their trajectory has been shooting up. Inter the same. But now Inter, having in mind that they lost to Bayer Leverkusen.
You know, the two teams, like you have said, Lazio is not even all about the league. Even at the Continental Championship, like when they were in Confederation kind of the Europa Conference, they really played very well up to the final level. And they came back to reaffirm that particular stature. Going back to the league, I think as you just said here, Inter, they have associated with winning this particular league, and they will not actually want to loosen it up so that Napoli can start compete grinding. And they say that what I've also realized with the kind of Inter, players that actually trade for Inter at the UEFA Championship are not the same value of player that really represent it if it comes to the Serie A. And it brings an all host of, let's say, bench power that really can still start grinding you for result. And the urge of them competing for the accolade at the end of the season is what is actually driving them. It will be so kind of a tight kind of contest that equally you cannot easily predict. Okay, if goals comes, they can go either way. Remember, Lazio are playing at home. Inter will be actually trying to raid the result from Lazio away from their home.
Kariuki, uta text baadaye, mwambie saizi uko busy. Unatafuta unga. Maziwa.
Tafuta maziwa.
Lazio Inter.
As just like you have seen in our predictions, I think it's a game that was very it's a game that gave us a bit of some headache because the two teams are doing very well. Look at Lazio, it's top of the table of the Europa League, and also even in their league they're doing very well. Again, Inter has been performing very well, and I think that's the reason it's one of the biggest game. And you actually put it very well that if they lose concentration kidogo, Napoli itapenya, and they will not be able to catch up. So I think Inter will be away. So they will have a difficult task against a very good informed Lazio. Yeah.
Shtemi, biggest game in English football this weekend. We'll see Manchester City at the Etihad taking on Manchester United. What are you expecting from this fixture, Ishteli?
Just like I've said, it's a crisis derby because the two teams are really struggling. That is the Sky Blue and the Reds. And fortunately for the Reds, they tried to get at least a morale boosting win over Pleasant in the European competition. But you know, that's not really a big win because looking at the type of the opposition they were facing compared to Manchester City, who lost to Juventus, that is a big difference. But now, you know, that's a derby, and you know, derby doesn't have favorites. Whether you are good form or on a bad form, anything can happen, and it is a good moment for maybe Amorim to try and meet again Pep Guardiola. Remember, he did it when he was at Sporting, so he need to prove again that indeed I'm the one who is going to be beating Pep each and every time, in the middle of the night, in the daytime, in the evening. When you wake me up, I'll definitely beat Pep Guardiola. But now Guardiola has also to prove that indeed I've been having a bad spell, yes, but now my players go and beat for me. So it's going to be an interesting game and really difficult to predict.
Cedric?
I still believe that this game might end up being won at the midfield. Both teams actually have not been strong enough to control the ball. They have had, previously they have had ball carriers, but of late, their ball carrier kind of energy has been fading away. And all those players that actually are supposed to be carrying and transiting those balls all the way from the defense and supplying to their talisman up front has never been doing that particular, to the extent that they are being feel frustrated. We saw the likes of Bruno. At some point when he get actually frustrated, he start going by himself up front and trying to look for goals. And those kind of frustration will represent scarves at the midfield. So whoever will control that midfield and control it to the essence that he can carry and supply those balls to the up front will end up winning this particular game. And having watched this both team actually at the middle of the week, I also realized that they are not necessarily playing and they are not enjoying the game at the moment. They are playing with emotions. Both teams, they really want, they are actually questioning themselves why they have started losing, and they are not coming from the essence of losing. Equally, Manchester United, they are actually out there to try as much as they can to win their fans back. Man City, they have never associated themselves with some kind of loss. So it will be a cagey kind of affair, whereby even us fans outside here, we might not end up not enjoying the game. Everyone will be so cautious not to go forward, and they will be having an urge of trying maybe to get that counter and maybe get a goal out of it.
It might be one vile umejishika ni kama ushaogopa Sunday.
Not really. I think, as Sedo is putting it, it's a game that everyone is looking forward to it, and actually it's a game that people believe will be a very entertaining football, maybe because it is a derby, but again it turns out to be very boring, as he says. Pengine wataenda cautious kidogo. However, I think Amorim is meeting Pep for the second time, but now with a different team.
Yes.
A team that he's trying to fix. Ile ingine alikuwa amesha fix, ambayo ilipiga Pep. Alikuwa amesha fix, and he has
watoke wamepigwa.
Now wamekuwa wakifixiwa na wengine. It is becoming difficult to maybe I will give Manchester maybe kidogo surprise Pep kidogo kwa sababu ya this rotation thing, and you cannot really right now predict atacheza nini because he is trying to fix here and there. So as he says, maybe midfield, the players, the kind of
who's winning
lineup, it might, just like I predicted, either goes to Manchester.
Which Manchester? It's a Manchester derby.
United.
Oh.
Or it goes for a draw.
I think this is the best time.
Before you,
and by the way, before you ask Nani Sedo, this game tutakuwa nayo live Eldoret kwa Radio Maisha.
I think this is the best time Amorim and his charges are meeting Manchester City. I know in 6 matches Manu has lost 5, but when you look at Manu's game under Amorim and previous matches under Eric Ten Hag, you can see a team that is really fighting to score goals. You know, at least there are goals in that team. There'll be goals.
But remember, Manu does not have Gyökeres. At Lisbon, he was, and that's what he's struggling with.
We have Højlund.
He has Højlund, but he's not quite comparable. Even him was saying that
as long as you feed him,
he can see that urge, but it's not still there. And also both teams are loose at their back. They're actually conceding goals in each and every game.
Haaland is not there. So I'm changing from GG by the way to...
You are changing.
Manchester ready to win. 2-1.
HTV who's winning this?
2-1.
Who's winning this?
Before I predict, I will differ with my colleagues here saying that this game is going to be won in the midfield because looking at how the two teams are playing at the moment, they're not winning through the midfield. Both of them are struggling. Manchester, the captain Bruno is not at his best. On the other side, Rodri is not there, so there's no way it's gonna be won in the midfield. This game mostly it's gonna be poop. The long ones. Whoever gets his Holland on the end, Haaland on the other end, and then goals will come. So I'll put my money on the host, Manchester City.
Sedo, who's winning?
Manchester City.
So let's quickly run through the fixtures that we have for this weekend in different leagues. We go through that quickly. The fixtures that we have for this week, different leagues. We begin with the Football Kenya Federation Premier League. City Stars take on Talanta. Police will be at home taking on Gor Mahia rather. Bandari take on Mathare United. Homeboys face Ulinzi Stars. Shabana take on KCB. Tusker will be in action against Bidco. Muranga take on Posta Rangers, and Sofapaka face FC Leopards. That is FKF Premier League. We move away from that. We get into the Premier League. Arsenal will be facing Everton. Liverpool take on Fulham. Newcastle at home taking on Leicester City. Wolves at the Molineux will be facing Ipswich. Nottingham Forest take on Aston Villa. Brighton at Amex take on Crystal Palace. Manchester City at Etihad take on Manchester United. Chelsea will be facing Brentford. Southampton face Spurs, and of course on Monday Bournemouth take on West Ham. Now from the Premier League, let's move to La Liga. Espanyol will be taking on Osasuna. Mallorca will be in action against Girona. Sevilla hosts Celta Vigo. Rayo Vallecano take on Real Madrid. Atletico Madrid will be in action against Getafe. Alaves will be facing Bilbao. Real Sociedad take on Las Palmas. Villarreal take on Real Betis, and Barcelona take on Leganés. That is La Liga. Let's move to Serie A. Cagliari take on Atalanta. Udinese will be in action against Napoli. Juventus take on Venezia. Lecce at home versus Monza. Bologna hosts Fiorentina. Parma face Verona. Como will be in action against Roma. AC Milan battle Genoa, and Lazio will be in action against Inter. One big for the weekend. And finally, Bundesliga. Augsburg face Leverkusen. Mönchengladbach will be in action against Holstein Kiel. Mainz take on Bayern. Union Berlin will be in action against Bochum. St. Pauli welcome Werder Bremen. Heidenheim will be in action against Stuttgart. Dortmund at home will be facing Hoffenheim, and Leipzig take on Frankfurt. Those are the fixtures that we have when we talk about the five, of course, top leagues in Europe, as well as the Football Kenya Federation Premier League. Yes, Hassan, there is a gentleman who requested for a jersey. He said he's been texting you on X. He's called Papu Felix, ama Jembe la Majembe, something. Jembe la Majembe. Jersey ya Chelsea, sijui kama itamtosha. Niliona kwa picha ni kidogo ni Jembe la Majembe. So yes, Papu Felix, Hassan Juma will be gifting you your Chelsea jersey. You get to his DM and he will tell you how you can collect that. Get well, Ivy Terry. Ulisema tunaambia dada yako nini?
Congratulations. Mama?
Hey, it's so flat yani.
Tumwambia aje?
What message are we?
Mtampata first class alafu
Sasa si nyinyi ndio mumueleze.
This camera say congratulations to your sister.
Congratulations Irene Waithera Karaoke for good performance.
Imeisha.
He doesn't say. That is where we wrap up Football Sleep. My name is Robinson Okenya. Thank you very much.
Robbie, before you wrap up,
Rogers Ishtemi.
Before you wrap up,
yes.
On Sunday, Manchester Derby.
Look at the camera.
Timber. Club Timber, Eldoret. Elgeyo Marakwet, Nandi County, Uasin Gishu. Tupatane Timber. Kikosi kizima cha Radio Maisha. Manchester Derby, Stephen Mkangai, Walter Kinjo, Shafi Zele. Na hata mimi pale. Let's beat at Timber for...
Of course, thank you very much, Daniel Kariuki. That is where we wrap it up here.
Zilizala Viwanjani by day is back.
Oh yeah, Zilizala Viwanjani. Tell the fans.
Zilizala Viwanjani inarudi tena, kwa hivyo Jumatatu mida ya asubuhi yani. Sasa tumebadilisha mambo, tutakuwa tunafanya shughuli yetu mida ya asubuhi yani, tutachapa